Hey everyone, and welcome back to Rocky Watches Movies. Today we're heading to the sun-soaked beaches of California to take a look at one of the most famous television series of the 1990s, Baywatch. With slow-motion lifeguard runs, dramatic rescues, and a cast that became worldwide stars, this show turned a simple beach drama into a global phenomenon. But behind the red swimsuits and crashing waves are plenty of fascinating stories you may have never heard before. So put on some sunscreen and let's burn through 20 things you never knew about Baywatch. Co-creator Michael Burke said that NBC was initially less than enthusiastic about a lifeguard series, fearing there were only so many plots that could revolve around CPR. To prove the concept was viable, Burke and his partners shot a montage of lifeguard footage on Venice Beach and spliced it to Don Henley's The Boys of Summer. Hasselhoff, who had become a singing sensation in Germany and Austria, said he initially didn't want to do Baywatch, dismissively calling it Knight Rider in a bathing suit. They eventually won him over though. After finding out they'd been picked up for 12 episodes in 1989, co-creator Gregory Bonnen was with fellow producers and writers at Venice Beach scouting locations when a boy ran up and said his brother was drowning. Bannon ran into the water, found the boy, gave him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation and saved his life, a rescue for which he was awarded the Lifeguard Medal of Valor from the county. Despite its virtues, American network viewers weren't all that impressed with Baywatch when it first premiered in 1989. The show finished 74th out of 111 series that year. International viewers, however, couldn't get enough. Its popularity in Germany and the UK helped convince co-creators Burke, Bonnen and Douglas Schwartz to resurrect it. To make the deal work, Hasselhoff volunteered to reduce his salary per episode in order to receive a greater share of the profits if it was a hit, a gamble that would eventually pay off big time. From the beginning, Baywatch's visual trademark was the sight of a lifeguard running toward danger in slow motion. The idea came from a producing partner of Michael Burke, who had just been shooting in the 1988 Summer Olympic Games and had captured footage of sprinters at slower frame rates during the 100-metre race. Hasselhoff later claimed the shots were used to pad shows that were running short without having to spend more money for footage. The famous beach drama wasn't always called Baywatch, which came from the name of the Santa Monica Bay rescue boats. It was instead originally titled Aquatic Corps for the Emergency Service, or ACES, but thankfully that one didn't stick. Among the actors originally considered for former Navy SEAL turned Lieutenant Lifeguard Mitch Buchanan were Falcon Crest heartthrob Lorenzo Lamas, the Dukes of Hazzard star Tom Wopat, and British actor Adrian Paul, who'd go on to star in the Highlander TV series. For the role of Hasselhoff's on-screen son, Hobie, producers auditioned Leonardo DiCaprio. While they were impressed with his performance, they felt the 15-year-old was slightly too old for the part. Actor Jeremy Jackson, 4 years younger than DiCaprio, was cast instead. Before Erika Eleniak was cast, several other actresses were considered for her part, including Terry Hatcher, Neve Campbell and Alicia Silverstone. Auditioning for the show could be quite revealing, as wearing the famous red swimsuit or proving you had the physique to pull it off was often part of the process. Shawn Weatherly recalled being unexpectedly asked to remove her clothes during her audition, so producers could see how she looked in the suit. Carmen Electra had her own memorable moment, arriving straight from the set of MTV's Singled Out, and worrying that the casting team might notice she hadn't shaved her legs. Electra later revealed she still has her swimsuit framed at home, adding that visitors often get excited when they see it. David Hasselhoff initially opposed the casting of Pamela Anderson, as he was concerned about the show's image and wanted it to remain a family-friendly program. He stated that he did not want anyone from Playboy involved with the series. But when he eventually met Anderson in person, his opinion changed almost immediately. When she stepped into the role of CJ Parker, Anderson quickly became the quintessential Baywatch star. Talking of Playboy, NBC nearly fired Erika Eleniak after discovering that she had recently posed nude for the magazine. The network was concerned about how it might affect the show's image, but the producers strongly pushed back against the idea of letting her go, as they had specifically chosen Eleniak for the role. Alexandra Paul said that her contract specified she could not gain more than £5 over the weight she was when cast on the show. While Paul initially thought it was just for the women, she later found out the clause applied to both sexes. Shaun Weatherly was cast as Jill Riley, as a last-minute replacement for Pamela Bowen, who, as the crew found out when they went to shoot her first ocean scene, was afraid of the water. After she panicked on set, a doctor ordered her to stay away from the water for 2 weeks, and she was uninsurable after that. Not quite sure why she auditioned for the role in the first place. When Baywatch relocated to Hawaii, a number of cast additions were made. The most notable, Jason Momoa, who later found fame on HBO's Game of Thrones and Aquaman in the DC Universe. Cast as a lifeguard at 19, Momoa has said that the role was not necessarily his big break. Mila Kunis not only guest starred on the famous 90s show once, but twice. In her first appearance, she played a student named Annie, whereas in her second go-around, she took on the role of a young blind girl named Bonnie. Yasmine Bleeth, another instant pin-up idol from the series, parted ways in 1997 when, according to multiple people, her drug problem got out of hand. She quickly found a new job on the detective series Nash Bridges with Don Johnson and went to rehab, where she met her husband, Paul Cerrito. But she largely fell off the radar following an arrest for cocaine possession and a DUI in 2001. The immaculately mustachioed Michael Newman was a real lifeguard. Because of his skills, Newman was able to pull double or triple duty doing stunts, instructing cast members on rescue protocol, and sharing stories of real-life rescues for story plots. Producers even named his character Michael Newman. Professional surfer Kelly Slater was cast as Jimmy Slade, but his time on the show didn't last long. As filming continued, Slater grew frustrated with how the production interfered with his surfing career, as well as the increasingly far-fetched storylines. He later joked that some of the plots left him baffled, recalling moments where he wondered who could possibly come up with such outrageous ideas, like an octopus that's stealing surfboards. By 1993, the frustration had grown enough that Slater asked the producers to be written out the show. They shot a pilot for European markets that featured actual nudity. A girl named Hope Marie Carlton was cast to do a topless scene. The show opened with the lifeguards all gathering around with binoculars trying to see a photo shoot on the beach. There were 2 nude scenes in that pilot that unfortunately never saw the light of day. As Shawnee and Eddie, Erika Eleniak and Billy Warlock were love interests on screen and off, and it was rumoured that their salary demands contributed to their farewells in Season 3. But they both insisted that they just didn't like the creative direction the show was taking. And while Eddie and Shawnee tied the knot and moved to Australia, Billy and Erika ultimately fizzled. Hoping to exploit the Baywatch brand, Hasselhoff and producers conceived of a spin-off Baywatch Nights in 1995 as a more adult-oriented alternative. Instead of saving drowning victims, Hasselhoff's Mitch Buchanan chased down criminals as part of his friend's private detective firm. Although ratings were modest during its first season, producers decided to renew it for a second and final season, so it wouldn't appear the Baywatch brand was losing any steam. According to Hasselhoff, the company even bought airtime in some markets. The final 2 seasons of the show were filmed in Hawaii, which led to the series being rebranded as Baywatch Hawaii. Hasselhoff stayed on for the first of those Hawaiian seasons, but when he decided to leave the series, the producers made a surprising move. They re-edited the final episode so that Mitch Buchanan was presumed dead following a boat explosion. According to producer Douglas Schwartz, Hasselhoff wasn't even aware of the change at the time. In fact, it was his own stunt double who informed him that the character had apparently been killed off, something that reportedly did not go down well. Despite that dramatic send-off, Mitch's story didn't end there. The character later returned alive and well in the reunion TV movie Baywatch Hawaiian Wedding. And there you have it, folks. You now know a little bit more about Baywatch. If you enjoyed the video, which I presume you did as you got this far, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos coming to Rocky Watches Movies. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.